Welcome to our Thursday night demo. We're very excited to have Susan Horowitz with us tonight making latkes for the first night of Hannukah. I do want to mention that we are open extra hours this month till 6 o'clock every night, and then tomorrow and next Friday only we're open until 7 o'clock. So if you have some shopping to do and you work late on Fridays, come see us until 7 o'clock. Also want to mention that next week we'll be doing gingerbread cookies. Heather and I are going to do those together with a special guest. And we do still have a few of the gingerbread kits to hand out from the PTA that they put together if you want to come in and pick those up ahead of time. And without further ado, here's Susan, and we're going to have latkes.
I'm Susan Horowitz, and I'm a member of the synagogue here in Bath, Beth Israel. And I'm going to make some latkes for you guys and maybe tell you a teeny bit about Hannukah. So I'm going to start by lighting the candles. Tonight is the first night of Hannukah, so I'm going to light the first candle for you guys. I'm going to say 3 quick blessings when I light the candles. Wait. Oh, I see. Ah. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kiddushanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu lehadlik ner shel Hannukah. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam she'asa nisim lavoteinu bayamim hahem bazman hazeh. And on the first night only we say this third blessing. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam she'hechianu v'kiyamanu V'higianu lazman hazeh. Not a singer. Okay, so Hannukah. I'm going to be making latkes for you guys, which are potato pancakes fried in oil. The reason we do that on Hannukah, I'll give you the briefest description I can of Hannukah. In ancient Israel, there was a group of Jews called the Maccabees, and they fought against the ancient Greeks who didn't want to allow the Jews to practice their religion. And in the process, the Greeks defiled the sacred temple in Jerusalem, and the Maccabees fought back against them, were vastly outnumbered, and the Maccabees won the battle. When they went back into the temple to clean it, they found that they only had enough holy oil to burn for one night, but they needed more oil, and so they had to send somebody to get it. And it took 8 days to get the new oil, but the little bit of oil that they had actually managed to burn for those whole 8 days. So that was a miracle. And so we tend to eat foods cooked in oil for Hannukah as a tradition. So the latkes and also jelly donuts are popular to eat. And the thing that I like to remember about Hannukah is that it happens at a time of year when it's really dark outside. I know you all have noticed that it gets dark very early. And what we do here is every night we light an extra candle until by the end, the 8th night, you're all lit up. And I have probably 10 menorahs at home, so really, I could have a whole blaze if I wanted to. But the thing I like about it is you're adding light in the dark time of the year. So you're really celebrating the miracle of the oil and also bringing in some more light in a very dark time. It happens to fall near Christmas. It's not Jewish Christmas. Most of us were raised where it was kind of a Christmassy-like holiday because we would get presents on different nights, but it's not actually Jewish Christmas. There's no Jewish Christmas. I just like to celebrate it because it's dark out and the candles make me feel good. They make me feel warm. So we're just going to let those burn while I hopefully don't burn the latkes. Okay, so some of you have the recipes at home, and some of you are just going to stare at me while I do this, and that's fine. I have a food processor here to grate the potatoes. My grandmother probably did not have a food processor and grated the potatoes by hand. I like to think that if she did have a food processor, she would have been happy to use it. So I'm not going to feel guilty that I don't grate them by hand. So you're going to take your potatoes. You can peel them or not. I have not peeled them. Makes no difference. They're delicious either way. If you want to peel them, go for it. So I've got potatoes and onions, and I just grate them all up together. There's no reason to keep them separate. And I like to kind of alternate the onion and the potato. It gets them mixed together a little better. Let's see, will that fit? Not really. All right. I'm gonna do, these are two really big potatoes, so I think I'm just gonna do these two really big potatoes.
Is it traditional to have the latke or specifically during the time?
Yeah, I mean, it's traditional, I guess, to have them as many nights as you can stand making them. You can make these and you can eat some and put them in the fridge, put them in the freezer. They really do taste best right out of the pan, but you can reheat them really nicely. You can do it in your toaster oven, just in a hot oven on a pan for a few minutes, and they get sizzly again. They're terrific. So you could eat them every day. I don't think I would personally fry them every day, but you could. Let's see. Almost done here. All right. This is the last potato I'm going to do. No. So it looks like I'm probably doing about half of the recipe that was posted, since I don't have a crowd here, unfortunately. All right, so...
We'll eat them.
Yeah, I know. They won't go to waste. There's a lot of extra on the top here. Huh. Well, they're not going in. Okay, so the next thing you want to do, this is just a little interim step, is drain the potatoes a little bit. They give off a lot of moisture, so do the onions, and that makes it a little bit messier when you fry them. So I'm going to dump the whole thing in this little colander that you guys put out for me. And you could squeeze them in a dish towel if you wanted to. Or you can just do what I just did and dump it in there. Be careful, that's super hot. And then if you want to sort of hasten it along, you can, that's what it looks like. You can kind of press it down, and it's going to drain a little bit into the bowl below. And let's see, this is a good time to also notice if not everything got grated, like I got a big piece of onion, which, like, yeah, imperfect. So, all right, a lot of onion. All right, so I don't think I have the patience to let this drain. So, but in an ideal world, you're in your own kitchen, you're taking your time, you would let that sit for a little while or just wring it out in a dish towel. If you wring it out, so you get like a little bit of a cloudy liquid in the bottom, and if you actually let it sit, the potato starch settles out, and it's kind of a thick white layer at the very bottom of the bowl. You would pour off the liquid and put the potato starch back in because it helps everything bind together. I have potato starch at home. You can buy it like cornstarch, and I just sometimes throw a little extra in my potatoes. You can make latkes without shredding potatoes, and it's a secret, but I'm going to tell you. You can buy pre-shredded potatoes. So you can buy them in the freezer section where you get your all kinds of potatoes. They're just like shredded potatoes. Or in the part of the store where they have like the eggs, they have, it's refrigerated shredded potatoes. They're called simply potatoes. And they're treated with something so they don't turn brown, and it's just a bag of shredded potatoes. And you can totally use those, and they're delicious, and your grandmother wouldn't mind, and nobody will care that you did that. If you use those, they've been rinsed, you should definitely add some potato starch back in, a couple tablespoons. It just helps them to stick together better. But that is a really nice cheat, and I don't even feel like it's cheating because they're still potatoes. All right, so I've drained that as much as I'm going to. Actually, no. Drain that as much as... okay. The next thing we're going to do is, we do need binders in it. So we're going to do eggs and a little flour. Another traditional way to do it is with matzah meal. If you want to make these gluten-free, use your favorite gluten-free binder, or just skip the flour and throw in some extra potato starch, which is just made of potatoes. So I'm using flour, but you don't have to, because I know a lot of people are gluten-free, and these are easy to make gluten-free. I'm going to crack a couple of eggs, maybe just one. I'm going to use one, because I'm only doing half a recipe here. I'm going to beat it up a little. All right, now I got a bowl. We'll put that right here. And just dumping them in a bigger bowl. And everything is mixed together here already. So you've got your onions and your potatoes together. Something that really is important to add is salt. Unsalted potatoes. Ugh. So I like to add some in, and obviously when you're done, you can also sprinkle salt on your potatoes. So next thing to do is throw in the egg, beat it up a little. I usually put pepper in these too, but it's not a big deal. And a little flour. And it's like, yeah, you can measure it, but you can also just kind of go, all right, about that much flour. It's not too scientific. And you just want enough to kind of bind it together to help them stick together. All right. And I'm just mixing it all up. Oh, thank you. And pepper. Excellent. Oh, this is mine at home is battery operated.
Other side down. That side.
Oh! Wow. Okay. That's a nice little flavor. All right. And so now I'm just going to mix everything around until, I don't know, until it looks mixed. You can't, I mean, it just still looks like a bowl of potatoes. It doesn't really look that much different. But I only put in one egg and a little bit of flour. All right. I think these look like they're ready to go. Now, I like to use an electric frying pan because then I don't have to worry that the oil is going to get too hot. I just set it at a certain temperature. This electric frying pan is old. I think it was my mother-in-law's, Mickey. I think it was a wedding present for your marriage, your wedding. So it's very old, but it works great, and I like it because I don't have to worry about the flame. If you're doing it on the stovetop, by all means, a good heavy cast iron pan would be perfect. You just have to kind of keep an eye on the temperature, make sure it's not getting too hot because they'll burn on the outside, or that the oil is not too cool because then they'll like soak up tons of oil and they will be too greasy, if that's possible. All right, so I've got my batter here. Oh, and I like to use a scoop because I can make them all kind of the same size. You can just use a spoon. You can even just grab. You could do spinach. I just like potatoes and onions. It's pretty basic. So now, they smell good already. if you are doing this at home and you have a range hood, like, turn it on and crank it up.
Can you speak up?
Oh, yeah.
Sorry, I guess
That's okay.
I know I took it out because it doesn't seem to be working.
If you have a range hood that has a fan, you're going to want to turn it on. Now then, the thing is now you just kind of have to wait for them to brown, which is not that exciting, but it's a good time too. You can see if they're sticking together the way you want. You know your batter is right, but if they look like they're falling apart a little, you can always go back in and add some little more flour, maybe another egg, something like that. But these just take a few minutes to brown. And when they look brown golden on the bottom, you just flip them over.
Can you check her sound thing?
Am I plugged in?
We're checking to see if you're on. Sorry. Surgery.
Please don't be sorry.
Yeah, that is.
Okay.
Sorry to get so personal with you.
That's all right. All right. Is that all right? All right. All right. All right. We'll see.
The people will tell us.
All right. Well, all right. So what can I tell you about while they're frying? Well, I'll tell you about this. You've got two traditional accompaniments to latkes. And there's a lot of debate about, which is better. There's applesauce and there's sour cream. Now, I like my latkes just plain with salt. To me, that's perfect. The sour cream camp, I feel like these are so rich already. I feel like I couldn't do the sour cream. It's too much. But there's many people that swear by the sour cream. And I think if I had to choose, I would choose the applesauce because it's a nice sweet component, comparison with the savoriness of the potato pancakes. But, that is an issue that can cause a lot of conflict in a family. Yeah.
I would probably choose to have both.
Yes, you can also do that.
What would happen to me? Would I get kicked out?
No, I think that's an excellent plan, actually.
Okay.
No, I think you can
Keep everybody happy.
you can keep everybody happy. Usually, if I'm cooking like a Hannukah dinner and I do like a brisket or something traditional like that, it will have a sauce that is sort of has some fruit in it or something, so that kind of complements the latkes for me. So I would be slightly more applesauce, but still, I just like them with salt. But those are the two traditional accompaniments to latkes.
Claire Berkowitz says we're going to try sauerkraut on there tonight to be different.
Oh, and Claire's a really good cook, so I would do what Claire is doing. She knows what she's talking about.
So, in other words, it's really about the oil, not about the latkes.
It's all about the oil. Yeah, exactly. That's why donuts, the same thing. You fry them in oil. I have cooked latkes with people over the years, and I remember a person a long time ago, and she sprayed a little frying pan with some cooking spray, and I was like, that is just wrong. Because she's like, no, they're really good. And I was like, it's just, I do not have a deep fryer. I do not fry my foods at home, but this, once a year, you got to do it.
Yep.
It's a mess. You stink up the house, but you got to do it. All right, now this looks good. I'm going to turn this one over. And sometimes I use tongs, but I'm going to use the flipper. And look at that. See, it's nice and brown, crispy looking. And this was the bigger one, but also, oh, that looks really good.
It's gorgeous.
Yeah, these are coming out good, which is nice. These look great.
So it looks like the tongs would help with not splattering.
Yeah. Yes. Also, I have a bigger pan at home too, so if I'm doing like a bunch of them, it's sort of quicker
Yeah.
to. So that's all there is for cooking them. You just do it till they look done. So the bottom is done. I don't flip them more than once normally. The pan heats fairly evenly. If you're cooking on the stove, you have to know your own flames and your own pan. But the only thing you have to do is when they look golden brown, they're done because the shreds are thin, the pancakes are thin. They don't need a lot of extra time in the oil.
And then we're going to drain
And then you do need to drain them on paper towels because they are full of oil. And if you're like cooking them for a crowd or for your family and you're going to serve them all at the same time, I would just put them on warm in the oven on like a little rack or even on the paper towels in the oven, and they can hold while you're frying the rest of them. It's hard to wait though when you're making them. And usually if there's people in the house, they're going to start coming around and like staring at you and wondering when they're done and can they have one? Can they try one? Can they have one now? And you can tell them no, or you can tell them yes. It's up to you.
Those are gorgeous.
These are really look good. I'm very impressed with myself. Okay, so I just want to make sure they're all done. I really feel like they look pretty good. Yeah, I'm going to take these out. I'm going to drain them.
Camille said that Center Street Bakery also has.
Yeah, he
latkes.
said he's going to be doing latkes like every night during Hanukkah. So even though I know how to make them, I think I may have to go over and get some of Aaron's latkes because he's a good cook.
And it will keep your house less
Yes,
oily.
yes.
Oily
And
and smoky.
the other thing you want to do is when you're scooping them, you're going to have to scoop out like the little bits so they don't burn. And that's always like a bonus for the cook because you get to eat like the little scraps. Yeah. So I think I'm going to put in another few pancakes.
Okay.
If you want to look in the bowl, you can see there's a lot of liquid now in the bottom of the bowl that if I had waited to drain, some of that would have drained off. I just like to stir it up while I'm doing it.
And these obviously held together well. So
Yeah, I think I got the
texture.
amounts of everything right. And every like few batches, you'll have to add a little oil to the pan because they do absorb quite a bit of oil. But
That's awesome.
these look really good. I'm happy about this.
Very good. Well, thank you so much, Susan.
Thank you for having me.
Just a reminder that we will be open until 7 o'clock tomorrow night and next Friday, and 2 weeks from tomorrow is Christmas Day. So if you're Christmas shopping, you have a little bit of extra time there to come in and pick some stuff up. And hope everybody enjoyed the latkes. Don't forget, next week is gingerbread cookies, and we're very excited, and we have a special guest coming. And I think that's it. Thank you so
Thank
much,
you.
Susan. That
Thank
was
you for
awesome.
watching me
How do
in
I
my
say-
debut.
How do we say Happy Hanukkah in
Well, you would say Chag Sameach or Hanukkah Sameach, which means
Hanukkah Sameach, everybody?